one thing that you talked about earlier on about the social sciences, and one of the key things that comes up is this concept of homo sovieticus, you know, the psyche of a Soviet. I mean, and this has, you know, it didn't change as people, particularly your sociologists that you look at.
Right. So one of the older characters, one of the intellectual history characters, is Lev Gudkov, who's a sociologist. And he comes from a fascinating background. He was part of what was basically an underground school of sociology from 1968 until 1988. The great Soviet self-taught sociologist Yuri Levada assembled this underground school, and his students met once every 2 weeks for 20 years. And they all had the job, each one of them had the job of following a particular trend in Western sociology and keeping their colleagues up to date. So they're all theoretically very well educated. When he was allowed to assemble them and form the first public opinion research center in the Soviet Union, and then they decided to do a survey. And of course, theoretically, they were all very well educated. Practically, none of them had ever, you know, even stood next to a survey. So they realized that it's a little bit like having somebody who's you know, highly educated in brain science suddenly, you know, be handed a scalpel and told to perform brain surgery. But they did it, and Levada's hypothesis was that there was a cultural institution that he called homo sovieticus, right? And he didn't mean that it's necessarily a typology of a person, right? He means it's a set of behaviors, a set of attitudes that ensured a person's survival under conditions of state terror.